Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? How's everybody doing today? Welcome back. So here we are, I did it, I powered through it, I finished season 2 of Sacred Games. And in case some of you weren't aware, I actually just power watched through both of these seasons in the past 24 hours, so my eyes are just certifiably on fire right at this moment. But you know what? That's okay, because every once in a while, life just requires you to just power through some shit. But at any rate, the real question here is whether or not the massive eye strain was worth it after watching this season. And I would say it is worth the eye strain, but not nearly as much as the first season. And just as a fair warning, if you have not seen the first season of Sacred Games, I would recommend that you not watch this video in particular because I'm probably going to ruin various bits and pieces of it. If you want to know my specific thoughts on the first season, I'll leave a link in the description, but overall, I really enjoyed the first season. And as far as the plot for this season, it picks up right where we left off, continuation of everything else. Sartaj, you know, still doesn't have a thumb. However, it appears in this season he's been assigned to an alternate unit to further investigate what the impending attack is going to be. And in the storyline that's set in the past, we continue Ganesh's storyline. Now again, overall, it was a decent season. I had fun with it, and I was really anxious to see how they were going to wrap everything up. But I have to say, in this season, the storyline that takes place in the past, it was really lacking in comparison to the last season, and it kind of ruins some of the narrative momentum. I did like how Ganesh kind of ended up in Kenya, and he has to deal with a whole other set of like gang politics. I thought that was kind of interesting to start, but as we delve a little bit further into his story, and he talks more about his third father figure that he brought up a little bit in the first season, I thought that was the part that kind of fucked me up a little bit. I still like that the show focuses on themes of like your perception of what a father is or could be, but with this other father figure that we get more acquainted with, there was really a lot of skippable moments with that. I understand that this character is being built up to be something more important later on, and that's fine, but occasionally it felt a little bit cartoonish because that character very much symbolizes like going on a spiritual journey to kind of understand yourself, and there was just some things about it that just didn't really flow well for me. Because most of it is just him being preachy, and like a lot of that dialogue is really kind of irrelevant to the overall story. It's more so just kind of like general thoughts about life that I really didn't need. I did like the way that the show handled religion as a whole, though. I thought that was good. And I understood the reason why the character was there, but I feel like you probably could have shaved an entire episode off of this show if you took away all the like preachy stuff. Because during a lot of like the guru's kind of like monologues and speeches, I was tuning out for a lot of it. But that's really the only negative that I have about the show. The rest of it, it just wasn't quite as good as the first season. So it was still an enjoyable watch, though. Pretty much everything that happens in the present, all that was still riveting, and I was just like waiting to see more of that. So although this season wasn't quite as dense as the first season, there was still some juicy stuff in there for sure. Because the momentum might have gotten lost in the shuffle like midway through the season, but then at the end of season 5, it gets right back into high gear. Also, another quick side note with some of the spiritual awakening stuff, there's some really bad green screen in a couple shots, but that's neither here nor there. Because there were some other dream sequences where the visual effects actually looked really good, so there's also that. And also in this season, there wasn't as much mystery laced throughout it, because, I mean, I was still interested and I was curious to see what was going to happen next. But in the first season, you essentially go from knowing nothing to knowing a little bit by the end of it. Whereas in this season, a lot of the characters are in the past timeline, like, you kind of know where they're going to end up, so, like, the stakes are less important, or they feel less important, I should say. Because it's like, oh, this character's in a very particular situation, but it's not that suspenseful because I already know what happens. But from a technical aspect, I thought the show was still pretty solid. Like, I like the music a lot, and there's also a couple, like, really long tracking shots, which they did in the first season too, but they kept it going. And I also like that this season had kind of this theme of, like, accepting your past faults and coming to terms with them, because it's not just the main two characters that it chooses to focus on. There's a couple other side characters that are also feeling parallels to that. And there's also one tiny thing that Sartaj does that is incredibly stupid, but I won't tell you what it is. And as far as the ending goes, I thought it was good, but I should have seen it coming. Like, I was watching it and I was just like, you got me. But anyway, guys, as much as I harped on this season a little bit, if they made another one, I would still be curious to see what they did with it. Because that first season built up enough goodwill for me to really care about these two main characters. But as far as the rewatchability, I thought there was quite a few more skippable moments in this season than there was in the last season. So I think for a score out of 10, I think I'm gonna give it a 6.8. I still enjoy the characters. I still like what they did with the story, but there's just a couple things that they chose to focus on that I thought might not have been the best choice. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Have you guys seen the show? Have you seen both seasons? Hop in the comments, let me know what you think. And other than that, if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, do all that other YouTube-y type of shit, and I will catch you guys next time.